Kick-ass stuff there. I love this guy. We've had some great conversations over the last couple of years. It's been a great pleasure to once again welcome back to Around the Kid, the tremendous Stephen Chamberlain. Stephen Joe Gansas, Around the Kid. What's up, my brother?
Joe, how have you been, man?
I am great, pumped up, and it's good to hear your voice again, brother.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been too long. But how you doing? How's everything going?
Excellent, man. I've been busy like never before. It's been really intense, since I live in New York, and I also live in Quebec City, Canada. So I've been traveling like crazy, and I was touring during the summer, playing with like different bands, and freelancing mainly, and still doing the clinics in stores, teaching. I teach even more students now. It's been just crazy nonstop, man.
Great. Well, we welcome you back to the show, and we're happy everything is going good for you, man.
Thanks.
Talk to me about that piece of music we heard. What was that?
Oh, it's such a great gig. I remember it's been a couple of years now, I guess. With Mathieu Fizette. He's an amazing keyboard player from Quebec City, and he was in China for many years. And I was playing with him years ago when he started, putting together his own music, and then he left, went many years in China, and now he's back. So we're actually playing together again, which is pretty amazing. So I'm going to be playing with him next week. So he's doing like this the CD release. He has a new album, and we're going to be presenting that, and we're going to probably be touring a little bit between Montreal, around Quebec City, and maybe bring the show in the States. Who knows? It would be really, really awesome. But he's such a talented musician, man. It's crazy. And I was learning one of his songs, and it was such a pain in the ass. Excuse the expression, but it was so hard to learn, man. He's because he's also a drummer, so he plays the drum, and he kind of he starts, his composition on the keys, and then he brings all the rhythms and the polyrhythmic ideas on the drum set, which is a very cool way to compose. And then I have to learn all the parts. So one song is Restricted Area, and he plays, well, now I have to play a group of 7 with my left hand, a group of 5 with my right hand. My left foot is playing 16th notes, and I play quarter note triplets with my right foot, which is kind of crazy. God. And this is just one groove inside a crazy song with like odd time signatures and different like changes and different sections. And each section is really hard to play. So I've been practicing really hard just to, be able to play that song. And I think I want to do something with it, because I spent a lot of time just learning it. So I just said to Mathieu, at some point, do you mind if I, have the song for myself and play the song in clinics? And he was like, yeah, no problem. That's excellent. So I'm going to probably be recording something really soon, like a clip or something, just to show the drummers, and to just maybe challenge some drummers.
Right.
If you guys can learn it, just try it. It's just fun, It's pretty rare we have the chance to play such difficult music, but when it's when we have to do it, it's fun. It's really fun, and it makes the challenge even better when you can play. You'll play it in front of people in public,
Right. Let's stay right there, guys. Talking to tremendous Stephen Chamberlain. He's been so nice to give me some time tonight, and I am always honored when he gives me his time. Let's stay right there. You're doing great. You're touring with different people, maybe new experiences and new students. Does it give you a better appreciation of the mind? We don't talk about the mind too much. Always, drummers that they just hit things, but you just demonstrated 4 things you could do different with 4 limbs that involve the mind, the left foot, the right foot, different time signatures. Talk to me about the mind. And is there a better appreciation for the mind these days that you have to use it, in a wider vocabulary?
Well, it's a great question. I guess for me, when I learn something new, I always start by with the mind. I try to learn it, and just understanding what you're playing is sometimes really hard. Uh, but it has to go, I guess, to the next level, which is not thinking about it. So if you can just play it and feel it, then you can focus on different things, and you can hear the forms, you can listen to the musicians, you can do many great things that I think you really need that if you want to be a good musician. So the mind will always be there, but it's like a computer. You have to use a little bit of memory. So if you are really working hard and thinking too much about what you're playing, well, maybe you need just a little bit more time to master it a little bit more. So you get to the next stage so you can have fun and use less memory in your brain. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, as a drummer, I think we're always thinking, and we want to evolve. Sometimes things get stuck with us, and we can't quite get it for a while. So maybe we put it on the back burner. But I think using the mind is I think not only in drums but in life. Every day we're so lazy with our thought process. I think if we just sat down and took a deep breath and thought about something a little more than just react with a certain a quote. If we just thought about it a little better, I think it would help us ease that situation.
Yeah, it's like learn it and then forget about it.
Yeah. I always say I have this saying. It's three L's. Listen to something, listen to it for a long time. Okay, you learn it, and then after you learn it, teach it. Lead. So listen, learn, and lead. You listen to it, you learn it, and then once you know it, you lead to others. So I think, if we do all that in life, it helps us, get to the next level, whatever we're trying to do.
Yeah, and you said something really important. I mean, teach it. Teaching
Yeah.
is a huge part of the process. Just you learn something new for yourself, then you teach it, and it gets really good because now you have to explain it. And if you can explain something, you can probably understand it better, I guess. And it's like opening a clock, and seeing all the gears, and it's like you understand what's happening with time, and then you can feel it much better, I guess.
Yes. But Stefan, I got to be honest, I've had some of the best teachers in my world, in the world on my show, including you, including Bruce Becker and Grant Menifee and Don Famularo and Jason Gianni, and go over and over and over with all these Joe Bergamini, all these great teachers. I mean, great teachers. But I have people that I see in the street. Oh, I'm giving drum lessons. Well, how you doing that? I'm just doing it to make a fast dollar. I think there's a misconception about teaching because as an educator, if you want to be an educator in anything in life, you first have to be educated in that field.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I guess because I'm always learning, I'm always taking lessons and practicing. And we talked about that last time, how important it is for me to keep growing and to take care of myself first, and then I can take care of my students and the musicians around me better. So it's a cycle. And last year I told you about Montreal Drum Day, right? It's something we do every year. Actually, we're in September the 30th. We're going to be presenting the 5th edition of the Montreal Drum Day with me, Daniel Bedard, and we're going to have Mark Kelso. Not sure if you know who Mark is. Amazing Canadian drummer, and he has his own DVD that you can buy on his website. I think his website, you have to Google his name, Mark Kelso, and his website is something like Groovy Drum. It's something different than his name, but Google his name and you can buy the DVD online. It's awesome. It's called Musician First, Drummer Second. Mark is an amazing drummer. And last year we had Paul Brochu, also amazing Canadian drummer, and you have to check him out. Just Google his name, Paul Brochu, Brochu. Amazing, amazing drummer. And last year I was performing with Paul, and I was so blown away by his sound and performance. So I just asked for drum lessons, and he said, yes, of course. I teach in Montreal University. You can come, and we can push your playing to the next level. So imagine that. I'm going to Montreal, and Montreal is like 5 hours from New York City, and about 3 hours from Quebec. So really nice city, amazing place. So I go to my first lesson. I took like 2 hours, and first thing, I sat down, and he just said, okay, you listen to a song from Alain Caron, an amazing bass player, also from Quebec. And I listened to the song one time, and he said, now sit down and play the song for me, kind of a jazz fusion song. So I sat down, started playing, and of course, you do your best, because you only listen like one time. So played the song, and while I was playing, he was recording my playing. So after, we just sat down at the computer, and we just reviewed, all the details and all the, the technique related to what I played. It was awesome. Such a great drummer and musician and teacher. And, it's been a year and a half now. I've been, every month I go to Montreal University, and I take 2 hours lesson, with Paul. And it's been, what a journey. I learn like crazy, and I feel like I'm just beginning. I'm just starting, and it changes the way I teach, and it changes the way I play and the way I see, drumming and music in general. So we have such amazing drummers in Canada. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, that's great, because you really, and not just saying it because you're on the phone now, but you always come on. You're always looking to get better. You're always looking to learn, and that's so important. It's not really rare, but it's rare sometimes. Like, you always want to get better. I mean, we could talk about Paul, Jim Chapin, Dom Famularo, and on and on. You're always looking to get better. When we have people like on Facebook, and they always post questions. How do I get my doubles faster? How do I get my this faster? I seen a question last week, and it went like this. Somebody said, how do I perfect my double bass? And I said, perfect? There's no perfection. I mean, if something is perfect, what is there to look forward to? Stephen, I mean, what is perfect? We all want to be perfect. I don't want to be perfect. Life isn't perfect. Why should we make music perfect,
You're right. Music is awesome. And, you mentioned such amazing teachers and drummers, and I'm honored, to have studied with some of them. Like Dom was a huge influence, like Joe Bergamini as well, and so many great drummers. Yeah. And I was actually watching Bruce on Drumeo last week.
Yeah.
Because of YouTube and Drumeo, it's amazing. But we don't always realize how difficult it is, to play like these guys and to reach that level. And when you do it, and you start recording your playing and looking at your technique and trying to sound good, it's hard work, and you have to do it. I mean, if you're just looking at something and you're not involved, you're not doing it, it's really hard to understand. I mean, even when you're watching a drum clinic, if you're sitting in the audience and you're just watching, it's easy to judge, and it's easy to say like, it's not that good, or he's okay.
Right.
But if you go there, and if you go sit down at the drum set and you play your best, then maybe you're going to realize that, oh my God, this is harder than I thought. It takes a lot of work, and I guess it humbles me, just to realize that. And watching all these amazing drummers, I feel like they're all so good. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's inspiring. It makes me want to become better and to follow their lead, you know.
Yes, like yourself and Bruce Becker and Don, you always want to get better. You know, it's always like you're always reaching for the top of the ladder, but that top step is always going up. It's always moving by itself, and you can't get to the top. But that's okay. You always want that perfection, or you know, you try for that perfection, which is not going to be perfect, but you know, you want that, you know, top level. I had the great, and last year he was on my show about 5 times already. Last year on my show, Dave Weckl told me that the following. He goes, Joe, starting to figure out this thing called drums.
Man.
and that's from Dave Weckl. He's just starting to figure it out at 60 years old. So there's always something to learn. We could always learn, but I think the great ones, and I mean this, like yourself, who always want to get better, who always want to progress, you know, good things are going to always be there for you if you want it.
Yeah, Dave Weckl is amazing. He's one of my favorite ones. You know, he's such a great drummer, and you know, we always ask the question, you know, who's your favorite drummer, or name me the top 5 drummers that you like.
Right.
And you know, Dave Weckl was always my number one. And I was in high school, and I was watching the VHS tapes, like Back to Basics, and
right.
He was amazing. And I think he was like one of the first who came up with play-along books, right?
Yeah, you might be right there. Yeah.
That's amazing. He's amazing, and I've been also watching his playing on YouTube because he's touring with Chick now, and you know how internet is nowadays. You know, it's like one thing is happening on the opposite side of the world, and you can just see it the next day on YouTube, and it's high definition. It's really good.
Right.
So I've been kind of following. You know, I do the same thing with Dom. You know, when I know that, oh, Dom's going to be in Australia this week, I just YouTube his name. I try to see, like, you know, the most recent clip, and most of the times I can really find real quick a clip, or someone took just a part of his clinic, you know, with his iPhone or something, and it's really easy. So I've been watching Weckl now playing with Chick, and he has a bit different setup now, and he's actually playing the Artisan, the Sabian jazz cymbals that I also use, and I was like, whoa, they sound amazing when he plays them, you know. And so so it's amazing how you can quickly research and quickly find what's happening in the drumming and music world, like instantly almost nowadays.
Yes. You bring up technology, and guys, we're talking to the tremendous Stephen Chamberlain, 646-787-8027. Technology today is tremendous. I remember, you know, years ago having to put the cassette tape in and learn songs and press rewind and find that certain spot. So it's much easier today. Today we can actually watch Dave Weckl and see what his feet are doing. What do you prefer? An honest question. Do you prefer the old way where you have to think more and listen more, or do you find this way is easier for you? Do you like the new way where you can see what somebody's playing, rather than years ago we just had a cassette tape to go rewind, no YouTube. Now you can watch the whole performance, what they're doing with everything.
I think if you use technology in a positive way, it's fine. It's really good. I mean, just by teaching. I mean, I teach on Skype, and it's crazy. I've been teaching students from like 14 or 15 different countries, and it's because of technology. Like YouTube is also amazing. You know, when I teach, I think about a drummer or something I want to show right away to a student. I open my browser, and bang, I can see the clip. You know, Apple Music now. You want to, you know, get an album. It's like, oh, you need to listen to Tito Puente. Something, and bang, you can have it right away. So it's really cool. At the same time, I guess if you need to research it a little bit more, you kind of own it when you find it or you get it. So maybe the value of things was different, you know, in the past. Now, because it's easier, it's less valuable, I guess. But we, as teachers, we have to teach the importance of, owning a record and developing a relationship with the record, and watching things over and over again. Um, Before practicing, I always look at different clips. I have a folder on my computer with all my favorite drummers and performances, and I just open the folder and I play something and I watch it. And some of the clips, I've been watching them for a year or 2 years, and by watching them over and over again, I'm recording a little bit more of the information, in my brain. And I think maybe in the past, people, I guess, they were just doing that more, because with a vinyl or something that you're listening to, you have to, if you want to learn, you don't have all the resources. You can't really know what's happening unless you're listening and trying to figure out, what is he playing? What's that sound?
Right.
And so I guess we can kind of combine the old vision and the modern vision, and we have to teach ourselves, how to use the technology so we can use it in a positive way. Musician, as teacher, we have such a big role, in influencing ourselves and people. Let's use it wisely and really have fun with that process.
Absolutely. Great stuff. We were talking about the mind before, and using the mind and the thought process. A great book that illustrates everything we talked about so far is a book you did years back with Don Famularo called The Weaker Side. I love it. Great stuff in there. How to, strengthen one side if one side is weakening, and it uses the mind. Talk to me about that book for a second, and how it does challenge the mind in a way.
You mean the weaker side?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool, very cool book. It's a technical book, and it's a follow-up of the famous book Stick Control.
Right.
Stick Control focuses on playing different patterns, but you're not always using more weaker side. With could be your hands or could be your feet. So the weaker side was all about using a little bit more of your weaker side, and that's why we wrote W for weak and S for strong. So see or write it doesn't matter. You can follow the book. It's really easy to follow, and it's just a cool book. You if you do like 1 page a week, we have 52 pages, so it will be like a year program, and it's really great for your hands. And I really recommend that you learn the free stroke, and you get It's Your Move. So all the books we have in the curriculum of Wisdom Media, it's all about creating a curriculum of books that you can follow. So It's Your Move will be first, so you learn how to move your hands, all the technical stuff, how the Mahler techniques, how to play upstrokes, downstrokes, pumping motion, and then you move to Stick Control and the weaker side, and you can actually combine both books. And we're really talking about the technical side of the instrument here. Technique would be first. If you work on your reading at the same time, it's amazing, because I always say to my students, it's like eating vegetables. If you do like technique and if you do reading, then you're eating healthy. Next, when you start playing with music, you're going to really have fun, but you have to eat your vegetables a little bit every day.
Yeah. Absolutely. Great. Guys, we are talking to the great Stephen Chamberlain, 646-787-8027. Always a great time. Talk to me about, what you've been up to these past couple of months, who you've been touring with. I know you're going back on the road soon. What have you been doing, and what's been the biggest, if there's been a surprise this year, a surprise that you said, wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that was going to happen. Something like that.
Well, And playing with bands and artists is important for me, and it's all my career. And I guess I got that from Dom because Dom was really wise when he was teaching me. It wasn't just about drumming; it was about creating career, And if you offer different services, or if you separate your skills into different categories, then you can do like drum clinics, you can do like um, freelance gigs, you can teach, you can write articles, you can write books. So many things you can do, and it's always exciting to work and develop and make each category like grow at the same time. So I guess this year playing with musician was amazing. I was playing with Jordan Labrie when I was in Canada. We have also the TV show The Voice in Quebec, and I had the chance to play with many of the people from that show. So I was touring during the summer with Jordan. I was playing with Kabir percussion, and we play Brazilian music. We play African music, Cuban music. It's amazing. Mathieu Fizette also. I played with Colin Hunter. He's a kind of a crooner. He's a singer and he plays jazz from the 50s. And I also play with the Fat Cats. Fat Cats are amazing musicians, also Canadian musicians, and they play also swing music from the 50s and 60s. So it's been great. And pop music is huge. Top 40 bands in Quebec right now. It's huge. So every time I'm in town, I play in clubs, restaurants, and the level of gigs and the quality of gigs has grown like tremendously. And that's what I'm experiencing right now in the industry. I feel everything is growing and it's becoming more positive. So I would say that will be my surprise. I was surprised this year by working in the music business that everything is better, everything is growing, everything gets at much higher levels. Big surprise.
Great stuff, man. I love all the stories and just always great to hear all your stories and all your success. I love watching you play and just I was watching you play this week and just so much dedication. You really get into it. You're like in a different zone. Talk to me. We always talk about everything, polyrhythms in this, but talk to me about, you come on my show, we talk, we have a lot of laughs. It's very serious at times. We talk, we have a great time. Talk to me about, Stephen, when you go behind that drum set, when you actually sit down on that throne. Is it almost like a different person, a different experience? I know when I get behind my set, it's very almost emotional at times, very spiritual. Talk to me about, Stephen, when you actually sit down on that throne and how you perceive things and how it makes you feel.
It's always about sharing my passion, of course, and playing more for other people, not only playing for myself. Older, it's more about the music, playing for the song, playing for the musicians around me, and making everything sound good. So I guess I'm listening more than before, and I'm playing less, a little bit less, and I'm trying to make good choices in the moment. And being mainly a jazz drummer, you always have to play in the moment, and that's a big thing. You have to always play in the moment, and it means you have to really master your vocabulary. You have to go to that next level, go to the stage where it's not like you said, you're not thinking anymore, you're feeling more. So you have to really prepare yourself to sit down and express yourself and focusing much more about what's happening around you instead of what's happening on the drum set. And I feel if I listen to my playing too much, it I don't know, it gets me thinking more like a drummer And I think thinking like a drummer, nothing wrong with that. But if
Right.
you start thinking more like a musician, then you have to listen more, and it's going to change your approach. It's going to change everything. And when I teach now, I always try to connect everything to the music. So I record my students. I always try to relate to something musical. And I feel it's a kind of a big responsibility when I sit down, you know. And your question could be, I could separate it into two
Right.
things. The first one would be when I practice, you know, by myself, and it would be a different approach, or when I play in a professional situation. Two different things. When I practice, I'm really focused on technique and repeating something over and over again and mastering the instrument. But when I actually play, I try to forget about everything else and just listen to the music. Because if I'm listening to my playing, then it's impossible to be inspired by someone else. You really have, it's like talking to someone. You know, if you're just talking, and while the person is speaking, you're always thinking about the next thing you're going to be saying. It's like, it's crazy. You're never going to be able to listen 100%.
Mhm.
So it's the same deal with music. You have to listen more and respond and react to what other people are giving you. So it's like gifts. They were giving you gifts, and then you give something back. You know.
Yeah. Talk to me about reading charts and reading music. I know we play it, you read it and play it. Do you actually practice just reading the charts? Do you have to practice just reading the charts at times?
Yeah, of course. And it's so different if you're reading a transcription, if you're reading a drum chart, or if you're reading like a bass or piano chart. And you have to deal with all the different situations. And when I teach, I try to expose my students to the three different types of reading. If you really want to get into someone's mind, you want to go with the transcription. And transcription is all the details, and it's a different type of reading. I mean, you're not really going to be using, that skill in particular when you play professionally. But if you're studying, it's a great way to study. And writing transcriptions or just reading transcriptions, it's amazing, tremendous. The second type, the drum chart, it's what we usually find in play along books, like the beats are there, sometimes fills, but most of the time they don't really write down the fills. They just write like fills or fills. it's
Right, right.
it's just a little bit more detailed. And the music, like the bass or piano chart, most of the time that's what I get. So you have to really work on um, interpretation. Knowing what to play while you're reading someone else's part, and it's really different. But you can work on that. You can really find a good teacher and work on the three different types of charts. And when you make your own chart, then you have to choose. Do I want to really transcribe the song and write down all the details? Do I want to like more like a map, or do I just want to go online and buy the piano chart and then do something with that? And I guess as
Right.
drummers we have more freedom, and it's a good thing in a way to have more freedom, because you can change many things, and you can make different choices. But at the same time, it could be really challenging because you have to make more choices. So you need to be a little bit more skilled if you want to make good choices and know the style, know what's going to fit. What so and
Yeah.
that's what's amazing when I said earlier that when you listen to someone else, sometimes it's like, it's easy, he's playing like a simple groove and simple fills, but whoa, he's making choices right in the moment while he's listening to other people. So it's hard to do. You have to really work on that. And to work on it, you have to play with more people. It's almost impossible. Almost. I mean, maybe you can you can try with play along tracks, or you can try to get closer to the real situation. But playing with people is the best. And I would recommend, like, if you wanna call some friends, and if you're a beginner or you want to learn a different style, call some musicians and organize jam sessions. Just jam, just get some charts and define some songs that you want to work on. Some songs, study them and make sure you learn the proper fills and stuff, and you can use transcriptions and really get into the details of what the drummer was playing, the original drummer was playing. But also try different songs about sight reading. Just, take a new song and right away try to play it. And it's the best school, man. The best school.
Well, you talk about making choices. You've been making some great choices, and we thank you so much. I think this is your time on the show, and every time you come on, I am just so happy. You always bring a smile to me. You're so energetic, and every time I see you, you're getting better and better, and you're so advanced. I just love it. People who want to get a hold of you, brother, for lessons or anything, how can they do that, brother?
Oh, on my website, stephenchamberlain.com. I'm on Facebook. I have a artist page. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and every time I do interviews, it's weird because people ask you questions, and you answer and you talk about yourself, and it's like, oh, I do this, I do that. So it's me, myself, and I, which is kind of cool when you share information and you want to share your passion and your experience. But the best is when you can exchange, and that's why if you want to exchange and ask questions and start a conversation, just get in touch with me. It will be my pleasure to just talk to you guys and just know how you think and exchange, and sometimes you can learn more from listening and exchanging than to really sticking to your point and your point of view, and trying to be right. It's just a question of sharing and keeping an open mind. That's the secret in music, I guess.
I love it. Keep an open mind, and the great Stephen Chamberlain. No, brother, really, I mean that. I've talked to you about Jim Toscano. I had him on my show a couple months. He loves you. He said to say hi today. Jim loves you. I know you guys have been doing some clinics together, but he's a local guy, so he wanted to say hi also.
Jim is the best. Yeah, we've been doing some clinics together in New York City and New Jersey. We've been going into different music stores to share our passion and inspire more drummers. And Jim is the best. I mean, such a great drummer, great teacher. Every time I work with him, I get inspired, and I feel I need to practice more, and I feel that I need to get better. And I love it. Such a great person and educator.
Yeah, brother. We love you at Around the Kit, guys. The great Stephen Chamberlain. Thank you so much for this very intimate time. Once again, we'll follow you. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll do it again soon, man. I thank you so much for everything you bring to the show. Always kick-ass job.
Thanks, and you are doing an amazing job. Keep up the great work. Great show, and I share your show with all my students, and as I travel around the world, I talk about you, and it's great. Keep up the great work. I'm so proud of you, man.
Thanks, guys. It's great, Stephen. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night, brother. Thank you.
Go.
Thanks, brother. He's great, man. He's great. Being taught by all these great teachers, including Jim Chapin. He told me stories about him and Jim in the same room. Great stuff. But Jim loved him. I know Dom told me Jim loved him. Dom loves him. I know, just a great stuff. Great energy. I love that. And somebody who has so much passion, who always is a great player and only wants to get better. So he's a great inspiration. So we say thank you to the tremendous Chamberlain. Guys, we'll do a promo and be back after these very, very important words.